Okay, welcome back, Math 9. You know what I realized? I'm sure you realized this many videos ago. I've been writing Workplace 11 up here for the last 6 videos or something. I'm sorry. All summer I was making Workplace 11 videos, and now I've started on the Math 9 videos, and I guess I just got stuck in the rut. Alright, onwards. I'll do better from now on. So we're going to start a new chapter. It's all about financial matters, finance, income, expenses, payment, things like that. So we're going to start by looking at salary and wages. Now, salary and wages are just two forms of income. You know what income is? Income is money an individual receives in exchange for providing goods and services. I should probably say goods or services, but anyway, goods, what are we talking about? Goods is something that you produce, that you make. So someone makes a shelf for you, and you give that person money for the shelf. That's a good they've provided you with. And you provide them with income. Or a service. Someone comes and cleans your house. That's a service they're doing for you. And you pay them money. That's income for them. Alright, there's 5 different types of income we're going to look at. Today we're going to look at 2 of them. We're going to look at salary and we're going to look at wages. And then we're also going to look at, in the upcoming days, we're going to look at commission, piecework, tips. We'll have all sorts of things we're looking at. But just salary and wages today. So what's a salary? Salary is not a vegetable. Ha ha ha. Salary is the amount of money you are paid over a fixed period of time. So it's usually calculated on a monthly or especially a yearly basis. This is what, like, you hear of basketball players making their, $8 million a year or whatever. That's a salary. Or a teacher making their not quite as much as $8 million a year. They have a yearly salary. Many jobs have a yearly salary. A principal, a manager, an accountant, a politician. These are all people that are getting a salary. They know up front how much they're going to make every year. Now, even though they're getting a salary per year or perhaps per month, it's not like you only get paid once per year. You're going to receive the same amount of money every month or every week or some other situation, like these two situations, semi-monthly and bi-weekly. So they're very similar to each other, but a little different. Semi-monthly means twice per month. So if you got paid twice per month, how many times do you get paid per year? Well, let's see, there's 12 months in a year, and you're getting paid twice per month. That's 12 times 2, 24 payments per year. But bi-weekly is a little bit different. Bi-weekly is you're getting paid every second week. Okay, you're getting paid every second week. How many weeks are there in a year? There's 52 weeks in a year. If you're getting paid every second week, how would you figure out how many times you're getting paid a year? You divide this time. You go 52 divided by 2, you get 26 payments per year. So if you can get the bi-weekly option, go for it. You're getting 2 extra payments per year. Alright, some questions for us here. Which job pays more? $25,450 a year or $2,348 a month? How are we going to compare these? It'd probably be best if we figure out how much each person makes in a whole year. Well, for job A, we already have that amount, don't we? Job A makes this much per year. But for job B, we're only told this is how much they make per month. So what are we going to do with the 2,348? If that's how much they get every month, how do we figure out how much they get in a year? Well, you know how many months there are in a year? There are 12. So we multiply that by 12, and that'll give us their annual salary. Annual means yearly, right? When you hear about an annual amount, that's a yearly amount. And when you multiply that by 12, you get 28,176. So which job pays more? Job B pays more. With job B, you get $28,000 a year. With job A, you only get $25,000 a year. Okay, this time we want to know the difference in yearly salary. So we want to know how much does job A make in a year, how much does job B make in a year, and then figure out the difference. So let's look at job A first of all. Job A. They make $1,225 per week. Well, if they make that much in a week, how much do they make in a year? You know how many weeks there are in a year? 52. You'll need to know that. Write it down if you don't know that. There's 52 weeks in a year. So if you multiply their weekly amount by 52, that's how much they make in a year. And they have a decent wage. They make $63,700 per year. Okay, now for job B. They get $2,500 semi-monthly. Now remember, what's semi-monthly mean? It means twice per month. It means 24 payments per year. So you're going to multiply that amount, the 2,500, times 24. If it said biweekly, then you'd multiply by 26. And when you multiply by 24, you get exactly $60,000 for the year. So what we're looking for is the difference. How do you get the difference? You subtract. You take the 63,700 and you subtract the 60,000, and that's not too bad. That's going to be $3,700 difference. Okay, Mako signs a teacher's contract for $48,735. Must be a new teacher. A school year consists of 190 teaching days. If Mako averages 9.5 hours working per day, what's his hourly rate of pay? All right, so let's work this through. We know that Mako gets $48,735 per year. That's the annual salary, right? But it doesn't work every day, obviously, the year. He only works 190 teaching days. So if he gets this much money, $48,735, and he works 190 days, what can we do with those numbers that'll give us some good information? We could figure out how much he makes per day, couldn't we? How do we do that? Take the total amount, divide by the 190, and that'll tell us how much does he make every single day. And he makes $256.50 per day. Notice the answer on your calculator will just say 0.5. But because we're talking about money, you always want to have two decimal places, right? You would never say, oh, I made $256.5. You'd say, I made $256.50. So try to always put your two decimal places when you're talking about money. Now, that's not what the question is. This is how much he makes per day. We want to know how much does he make per hour. So how are we going to do that? Well, if we know he makes $256.50 per day, and he works an average of 9.5 hours a day, typical teacher works more than the regular, marking, planning, coaching, all those things we do after school, those all count as our work day, but we don't get paid extra for them, I'm afraid. Anyway, he made $256.50 per day. He worked an average of 9.5 per day. So how do we figure out how much he made per hour? Again, divide again by 9.5, and that'll tell you how much he makes per hour on average. And the answer is $27 an hour. So don't get confused. It's not like Mako gets $27 every hour he works. It just means on average. Mako actually has a salary, and that's how much he gets, the $48,735, whether he does just the minimum amount of teacher's work or if he works total extra time, has clubs, has tutorial times, coaches teams. He always ends up with $48,735. But in his particular situation where he works an average of 9.5 hours a day, he ends up with $27 an hour on average. But he's paid on salary. He's not paid by a wage. Okay, what's a wage? A wage applies to people who work for an hourly rate of pay. So we calculated Mako's hourly rate of pay, but he's not paid that way. He's paid a salary. But some people are paid an hourly rate of pay. For these people, full-time work is usually 35 to 40 hours per week. You usually wouldn't work more than that. And if you did, you'd probably get paid overtime, which we're going to talk about in a second. People who have wages, people like waiters and waitresses and secretaries and factory workers, construction workers, all these people mostly have a wage. It'll be something per hour, $26 per hour, $18 per hour. Most of you, when you get your first job, if you don't already have it, you're going to be paid by a wage. You're not going to be on salary. Another term you need to know is your gross pay. Your gross pay is how much you made before any deductions. Okay, we will talk about deductions in a future class, about taxes and EI, union dues, stuff like that. So before you take any of that stuff off your income, it's called your gross pay. All right, find the weekly wage earned for a plumber who works 40 hours a week. That's pretty typical, 40 hours. And he makes $37.30 per hour. Or she, 40 hours, and every hour they work, they make $37.30. What are you going to do to figure out their total earnings? You're going to multiply the 40 by the 37.30. If every hour they make $37.30 and they work 40 hours, you got to multiply them together. And they made $1,492 for the week. Pretty good. Now, overtime. Not every job has this opportunity. No overtime for teachers, sadly. But many jobs do. Nurses, ferry workers, police officers, I believe. So overtime is time spent working a job that's in addition to normal working hours. I think I missed the word in. That's in addition to normal working hours. right? So I already said up here that for most jobs you work 35 to 40 hours. But if you work more than that at some jobs, you'll get paid extra. And the way you either get paid is time and a half or double time. Usually, I mean, there's other ways, but this is the most common. By far, the most common is time and a half. What time and a half means is you get paid 1.5 times the regular hourly rate. So for example, let's say your regular rate, how much you usually get, was 20 bucks an hour. With time and a half, you would take that amount, you'd multiply it by 1.5. 20 times 1.5 is 30 bucks an hour. Okay, you would now be getting 30 bucks an hour for the overtime. Only for the overtime hours, not for all the hours you worked that day, just for the overtime hours you worked. Okay, we'll do an example and I'll help you understand that in a second. This is 20, not 26. Double time, just like it sounds, you're going to get paid double as much, 2 times the regularly hourly rate. So if your hourly rate was usually 20 bucks an hour, when you're getting double time, 20 times 2 is 40 bucks an hour. Oh my gosh, it's getting pretty good. Now with double time, it's often for working statutory holidays. Like today, when I'm making this video, it's Labor Day, and many people working today would be getting time and a half or even double time today. All right, a worker with an annual salary of $42,600 is paid every week. Her work week is 40 hours. What's her gross pay every week? So in other words, we want to know how much does she get every week? Well, she gets $42,600 total for the whole year, and we want to know how much she gets per week. Now she's getting paid every week of the year, right? It says right there, every week. Even ones where she's on vacation, she's still getting paid for them. This is typical. So what are we going to do? If this is her annual wage and we want to know her weekly wage, we better take the annual wage and divide by the number of weeks in a year. Divide by 52. This is like the questions we already did on the other side of the page. And you're going to get $819.23. It goes on the decimal, but again, let's go to 2 spots since we're talking about money. All right, there's the first answer. Second question, what is her hourly pay rate? So how much does she get per hour? Well, remember, this is how much she gets per week, and it tells us that she works 40 hours per week. Okay, well then if we took the 819.23 and we divided it by 40, that would tell us how much she gets in 1 hour. So we get $20.48 is how much she makes per hour. All right, last question. If overtime is paid at time and a half, how much does she earn for working 10 hours one day? Okay, now the one thing it doesn't say in this question, but I think we should just assume, is that a regular day, a regular work day for this person is equal to 8 hours. So there's 2 things you need to worry about. You need to worry about her regular pay hours and her overtime pay. So with regular pay, now remember she worked 10 hours total. Of those 10, how many were just regular pay? 8 hours, right? For the first 8 hours she worked, she's just getting regular pay. So 8 hours there. How many hours of the 10 is overtime? Well, it's the extra ones, right? We had the 8 regular and we have the 2 overtime, OT for overtime, 2 overtime hours. That adds up to the 10. So we have 2 hours of overtime. Okay, what's her regular pay? What's her regular hourly wage? We have that right here. We figured it out. She gets $20.48 for regular pay. So if we multiply 8 times 20.48, that'll tell us how much she makes before the overtime. And it equals $163.84. That's how much she would usually make on a regular day if she just worked her 8 hours. But remember, she also worked 2 overtime hours. So how does this work? Well, you're going to do 2 times the 20.48 again, but she won't actually get 20.48. She's going to get 1.5 times as much. So you also need to multiply it by 1.5. If it was double time, you'd multiply it by 2, but this is time and a half. So you're going to multiply by 1.5. So again, the important thing is she's only getting paid overtime for the extra 2 hours, not on all 10 hours. The first 8 were regular, it's just the 2 which are overtime hours. So let's multiply that all together, those 3 numbers, and you get $61.44. So now what? Well, she got this amount here for regular pay, and she got this amount here in overtime pay. So if we want to know the total amount she earned, we'd better add them together. And when we add those together, we get $225.28. Pretty good wage. Hey, by the way, What if we wanted to know how much she actually earned per hour? I know she usually makes $20.48, but because of working the overtime hours, she made on average more than $20.48. She made this amount, the $225.28 in the whole day, and she worked for 10 hours. So what could you do to figure out her average for hourly wage for the day? You could take the 225.28 and divide by 10, and that will give you $22.53. So you can see the overtime took her from $20.48 all the way up to $22.53. So it added a couple dollars to her average hourly wage. Okay, there you go, everyone. We'll continue on with forms of income next day. Have a good day, and let me know if you need help. Bye.